Hi everybody, just thought I'd share a little bit with you how I cook on my tiny little oven on my 27-foot sailboat. I don't have a whole lot of room for any fresh produce. I got a little fridge that's basically a cooler, half fridge, half freezer. So what I'm going to be doing is a vegan Huevos Rancheros. So really it's Tofu Rancheros. I start with about a tablespoon or two of olive oil, avocado oil, sorry. But I would use any natural plant-based oil. I'm using avocado oil because that's what I have on, and I'm going to be cooking at a really high temperature. I got my burner high setting as it'll go. I keep some onions and celery kind of diced all week in the refrigerator so I can add them to my dishes. My garlic, I always buy the jar of minced garlic. That way, on a boat it's easy enough to just kind of open up the lid, scoop out a little bit for what you need. Now I'm just going to saute this up for about 5 minutes or so until onion's translucent and you get a little bit of color going on it. Now that's gone that way, I've diced up a couple of Sorrento peppers because I like it really spicy. Normally you would use jalapeno peppers, and then I got half of a bell pepper. I'm kind of doing all this on a smaller version because I'm just cooking for one person, just for myself. If you're cooking for another person, I'd add a full bell pepper, or maybe even a red bell pepper so that, you get a little bit more color to the dish. But since we're going with diced tomatoes, I kind of went all green. I'm also just doing this with one camera in one hand and cooking with the other, so excuse the shakiness. See, I got all my seasonings open in the background. I'm using salt, pepper, cumin, chili powder, and smoked paprika for my seasonings. I don't measure anything off. I just kind of sprinkle them as I feel fit. But I think they're going to, be good. Usually with a Hispanic dish, I'm going to use twice as much cumin as I use on any of the other seasonings. Got the cock going there because of the peppers. And I add my seasoning before, I add the tomato sauce on there so that it has a chance to bloom against the bottom of the pan and with the oils that are already in there. You can see I already got my tofu kind of diced up already and just sitting and waiting. It's extra firm tofu. I opened it up, I drained the water out. I don't really give it a squeeze like a lot of people do, but you can give it a squeeze. It's supposed to mimic egg whites in this dish, so, it can be softer. It doesn't have to be extra firm, but the way it cooks in the sauce for about 10-15 minutes, it softens up and kind of gives you that same kind of texture. So now that the seasoning's all kind of cooked down just for a minute or so, this is about real time here. I'm going to add a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, liquids and everything, and that's going to be the sauce that everything's going to cook into. And I just buy cheap, generic brands because I'm cooking for myself. If I'm going to be cooking for somebody else, I would probably go with fresher ingredients or name brand cans. Since I'm cooking for myself and I'm on a budget, I try to just, I go with whatever's on sale. I think this entire meal probably cost me $5 or $6 in groceries. It wasn't that expensive of a meal. So now that the tomato sauce is cooked for a couple of minutes, I'm going to add the tofu to it. Once the tofu gets added, it's going to sit and just kind of, I'm going to stir it in there and let it just kind of cook in the sauce for a good 10, maybe even go 15 minutes. It was still a little bit on the liquid side when I served it up. Alright, now it's cooked for about 10-15 minutes. I think I went about 10 on mine. I didn't really time it. I just kind of judged by what it looked like. And I'm going to scoop it out, leave some of the sauce behind just because I wanted to do a product photo of this when I got done with it. I have all my recipes on my computer. I actually wrote an app for my computer that stores all my recipes, my pantry items, and my shopping list. And so every time I cook one of my recipes up, I take a product photo shot of it. Now when I went to dish this one up, I put the avocados at first all up in the center and then sprinkled the green onions over that. But what I noticed with the product shot is taking the avocados and putting the slices just around the outside edge of the bowl, and then the green onion in the middle with a little bit of cajito cheese kind of sprinkled over the top of it. It was a lot prettier presentation. It made for a lot better photo. But if you're just eating it yourself, you're going to see I got it here for the video, but once the video and my photo shoot was done, I just took the rest of the stuff in the pan and put it right over the top of the bowl and had all that for my dinner. It was delicious. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.